Hello, beautiful souls. I want to try to channel some guidance for us on acceptance, letting go of the past, why connecting with your higher self kind of effortlessly allows you to do that, to get into that state of allowance or flow. So, a lot of people ask about, the now. So there's a past, the present, and the future. But really, there really is only now. And in the now, you can be thinking about your past and you can be thinking about the present. You can be speculating or thinking about the future, but you're doing it all right now. And so the biggest question is then, while we're doing any of those things now, what is our higher self, our soul, God, doing about the thing that we're doing right now? So while we're thinking about the past and we're remembering getting beat up on the playground and resenting that frickin' bully, who would beat you up every year or every day after school, and you've hated them ever since. I have so much resentment about Billy, just as you're thinking about that in the now, the only question really worth asking is, what is your higher self thinking about that? Because remember, your higher self is always focused where you're focused. The question would be, is your higher self in agreement with what you're focusing? And you'll know by the way you feel, right? When you're full of resentment, what does that tell you? What's the clue? Your higher self is not in agreement of your assessment of what's going on, right? And so somebody's like, well, is my higher self retarded? 144, I remember things pretty damn clear. It happened to me, so why would my higher self be trying to make rainbows out of rain? Because your higher self knows that in that contrast, you are putting out feelers for things, and your higher self, God, became that. They received that vibrationally, and that's kind of like that law of attraction, law of intention kind of thing. And so your higher self remembers everything, right? Knows everything. So making peace with something is that even though something unwanted happened to you, there was value that came from it, which you have the ability to focus on right now. So if you want to be in alignment with your higher self, and you're going to insist on thinking about the past, then you have to find a way to think about the past that would match the way that your higher self would think about the past. And your higher self revels in every single piece of experience, anything that you go through, because it contributes to the higher, broader perspective that your highest soul aspect is living in the fullness. So the emotional journey, it's the shortcut. Everything is perception. And so when people, have such closed-minded views on being locked into this time-space reality, this dimension, right? It feels like that to certain people because you establish patterns of thought that only resonate with that. So the law of attraction demonstrates that for you. So it feels like you're stuck because change comes slow, but it only comes slow because you keep thinking about stuff from the past. And that's, again, a perceptual kind of thing, right? So this past, present, future, it's difficult to kind of get, right? But whether you're thinking about the past or the present, or whether you're thinking about the future, you're doing it all right now. And so there's another factor here too that actually matters quite significantly, and that is in this now. So while we're considering our past, or while we're focused in our present, or while I, in my human body, are conjuring, speculating, imagining my future, the fact that matters the most is, what am I doing vibrationally in relationship to that larger I, right? So in other words, what is that aspect, the soul within me, thinking about my past as I'm thinking about my past? What is my soul thinking about my now while I'm thinking about my now? In other words, so whether it's the past, the present, or the future, doesn't really matter at all, right? What matters is if it matches what your higher self thinks. So that's where that alignment needs to come in. And a lot of people are missing that. It's the biggest factor. When you're remembering the past and you're remembering being beat up in the playground, or remembering not being honored by someone, or remembering feeling vulnerable, or remembering something maybe even way more positive, right? The question is still, in that memory of it, is the memory of whatever it is that you're focused upon activating a feeling within you, right? In this now gives you power to the now, because your soul is always focused in the now. So like when you hear people say like your higher self is coming forward, coming into the now, some people don't really understand that. They watch videos on repeat and they read information all the time and they're still not quite getting it. And everything's happening right now. Like say this video, maybe you're watching it as soon as I release it, maybe you're watching it in 3 months, but it's all happening now, right, in the scheme of this video. So let's look at it another way. Everything that you've lived in your past or even in your present is causing an expansion of you for which your soul is joyful, ecstatic, right? Like growth. So if you keep remembering that when you're focusing on past, present, or future, that you really want to pay attention to is whether you're in alignment with yourself, with your higher self, your soul, who would be focused on the past, present, or future with you, but focused on a way that is helpful for you in your now. So caring about how you feel is the only way that you're able to effortlessly come into full connection with who you are, and that's the power of the now. So you're not really utilizing the power of now if you are pinched off from who you are, the largest part of you who is always utilizing that power of the now and guiding you to do the same. So you are a source creation piece of energy that loves. And the minute that you're not loving, whether you're not loving about something in the past, in the present just now, or whether you're not loving about something that you're worried about in the future, if you're not loving, then you're not allowing yourself to live as you've intended to live. And it's that deprivation that brings negative emotion every single time, period. So why do we call it the past? Because it was before now. And why do we call things the future? Because it's after now. But isn't it a continuum? And is there really anything other than the now? Can you agree with that now? Is there really anything other than right now? So if there isn't anything other than now, what could we speculate? In other words, like in the same way that a really intelligent person is asking a very important question about past, present, and future, which would totally disregard it because it's utterly irrelevant. Past, present, and future. All the power is in the now. So whether you're worried about the future, ensure that you're speculating and not worrying. Make sure you're projecting what your highest soul would be projecting for that future experience, that future potential. If you need to reminisce about the past, ensure that you're looking at it in a way that your highest soul self is. So only gaining the lessons, right? And that's where acceptance can come. That's where acceptance can flow a lot easier, is if you may not always know the whys, and majority of the time you won't be able to ever understand the full whys from your logical lack-based mentality in the now, right? But if you're seeing it as your soul would see it, as in, okay, that really sucked, right? That really hurt. I was made to feel this way, for example. But what did you gain? You always gained something. So as soon as you can get to that, right? Yes, unfortunately, if we're weighing stuff out, maybe the negative seems to outweigh that positive experience. But it's your perception and your reflection on that which is creating your future experiences. So do you really want to continue to speculate on that, or do you want to only focus on the positive? What did you gain? What strengths do you now have in your now that you can utilize to push forward into your future? I really hope that helps you, beautiful souls. Thank you so much for being here.